New name. I think we've had him once on the channel before, but definitely worth featuring. You might not know him, but you probably will in the coming months. Check this lad out. It is, of course, Poppy Paw. That's right. Right now, everyone's like, wait, who? Who the hell's that? Can you explain? Well, I will. Welcome back to the channel, folks. Let me explain the journey of Poppy Paw. Poppy Paw, he began out just simply a paw on a puppy. But then he, in a fatal smelting accident, found himself detached from the puppy. But would he be stopped? No, he would become his own person. He would venture out into the great world, strive for greatness, and begin to achieve it, being 72nd on the leaderboards with 1,722 elo. And all that with just one paw, because he only has one, you see? Yes, that's right. Poppy Paw currently sitting in 72nd place. And 130 games played, 62% win rate. This guy kind of became went on my radar rather in the Winter Series, because although he did get knocked out by Vortex in the second round, it was a 2-1. So he was able to take one game. And I think what made this very intriguing to me, and I wanted to feature him, was because when I just looked through his match history, which, by the way, shout out to Mr. Paw here. I don't know if it's because he's only got one paw and that paw can't figure out how to Google how to private my account, but he doesn't have a private account. So we can check these games. And what I discovered as I went through them, one after the other, which is usually how it works when you scroll through them, is that most of the games are under 15 minutes. This guy is playing very aggressive Age of Empires. And I thought that would be cool to feature, because I think a lot of what we end up seeing, especially the highest level, is this very back and forth, I'll poke you once and then I'll just boost an economy. A lot of players don't look to end the game off of an advantage early. Instead, they say, I got an advantage on the eco count, I'm going to fall back in eco, right? And you can try and punish me in return. And it just turns into this weird rallying session, right? It's Age of Empires version of rallying in tennis at this stage. So I'm actually excited to see someone that just all-ins. Because although it will not always work, it is at least you playing to win, and I do prefer that. I think it's something that we've seen adopted by a lot of the highest level players now in the last week or two. I see a lot more exploitative actions in the style of the Vipers and the Muslims compared to like 2 or 3 weeks ago, where instead they just kind of chill, they boom up in the castle, they'd wait until their eco is at 100, and then their military is at 100, and then they just try and gain ground over time. Instead, it looks like Poppy Paw never ends up in a situation where his economy is anywhere near 100, and his pop cap is definitely not getting capped. So, and we can see exactly that in this game. Poppy up against China. Whopper, by the way, I should probably give a little bit of details now. I feel like we're just being Poppy biased at this point. Whopper is 863rd, so a decent distance between these two. 291 games played. I still think if you're in the top 1,000, though, you're fairly respectable at the game. But Poppy, like I said, he's definitely trouncing a lot of opponents with this unique rush style of Age of Empires. Definitely getting value already. Spears moving in. Needs 2 more stabs, won't be able to find them, but keeps his opponent off the goal line. And we're going to start seeing those cheesy Mongol outposts that are so damn effective here, being dropped right next to the gold vein. And that's a big deal. Barbican Sun has at least already been built. If this was sooner, Whopper would have been screwed. He's building a Barbican Sun really smartly placed. He's guarding the expansion, so he'll have gold to access here. That's the important detail. Something that now Poppy probably can't stop unless he's quick like this. Because this is so far out. Look at it. The village is exposed. And Poppy, yeah, he's going to force you back. Whopper, he's in a lot of trouble. Mistakes have been made. Well, he'll rebuild the Barbican much closer to home, but that means he has no access to gold. This is going to hurt his ability to play the game immensely. Nice play by Poppy. A lot of people would just stack there. They would have kept the spears all close together. They would have brought them together to raid the mining camp quicker. Instead, he says, I've got the outpost. I don't really need to be scared by anything right now. Like, Chinese players don't really play into any military force in the Dark Age, so I'm comfortable to just do this action, split up my forces, and ensure there's no sort of greedy grab. And it's a really cool identification of him on Lipany. Lipany can do this with a spawn sometimes. Sometimes you're going to have a very close gold vein, and the next one feels like it's a mile away. And that's exactly what it is for Whopper here. Whopper, it isn't the end of the world for him, though. Remember that he's playing as China, so with these Imperial officials, he can just rely on tax for a little bit, but he's going to have to find a way to breach eventually. Attempt to build an outpost is going to fail from Poppy. No way that Whopper is going to allow that one to go down. He will try to rebuild it again. The scout is living in La La Land if he thinks he's going to stop the Villy from doing this, though. Nice play finally coming out from Wappa. Understands what he actually has to do to match this. If he's not going to build military units, he needs to get a defense down. So outpost being dropped, Barbecuing Sun also being completed very soon, means that his wood line should be protected. Really important as well. If you forfeit this, is the game done. Because for the moment, missing out on the gold vein, at least you can keep taxing. If you're only ever able to tax the mill, though, it becomes problematic very fast. As that's happening, tech up now underway for Puppy. But he's comfortable, right? He's unpressured. He can just split up. He can do whatever he wants. Everything is being kept tension-wise on China's side of the map here. Now even more outposts going down. Wants to ensure that if he does start to, and this is smart by the way, he wants to ensure that as he moves through this wood line, all he has to do is scout around the side with the Khan, and then this outpost can just stab in, kill a few people off with the arrows, right? Really cool play, actually. Very high-level play as well. A lot of people don't think to utilize vision in this way, but it will come into play in the next minute. I believe, yep, straight on the deer. When you're this comfortable, when you're this loose, think of it the same way that we saw France in the opening weeks, where they move out the pocket economies. There's no risk to you, right? So you should be playing like this. You shouldn't be investing in pro scouts. It's pointless in this situation. Just do this instead. Because you're not playing for 15, 20 minutes, right? You're playing for 10, 15 minutes max. And that's what I love about Popu here. I'm trying to think if when we last saw him, actually, because it was weeks ago, the one time we cast him. I think it was kind of an aggressive game there as well. But what I love about this is it's proving that there's more than one style, right? The fact that this guy is reaching up into those leaderboards, he's having some decent success, he's consistently doing these rush games, and he's actually gaining rankings on the leaderboard, proves to us that you can be more than just a castle-booming Civ. Because that's been what's been dictating the meta. And if I'm being totally honest, it has caused for a lot of boring games, where it's just everyone sits back, they just race tech-wise, and then they wait until a pop cap. And that doesn't make for fun Age of Empires in my eyes. Because something I've highlighted before is there's not enough kind of intrinsic abilities involved in AoE to give that wow factor if it just comes down to a pop cap and resource slog. And what I mean is things like this, like the Khan. The Khan that adds this cool amount of depth with maneuver arrows and attack speed arrows. When you think about the longbowman getting access to the rapid fire ability as well, like these kind of cool niche elements change the dynamic so it becomes more than just a numbers game of I have this population and you have that. Spearman going to be chased away. Bowman now in play. And remember that China are able to produce these much quicker, 200% quicker, in fact. So rapidly building up the archer army. Puppy should be switching over at some point soon, though. Yeah, he's got the archery range, so he's producing into archers himself. Remember, you can't fully match China's might in terms of production, but your economy is more efficient because although you can only double up occasionally with the UVU, it's a passively generated resource, right? Your opponent is getting this up to production, but also he's paying the additional surplus, right? He's paying full price for each of these troops. Backs away just in time. Almost lost him there. Looks like he's going to slow down and check himself at the moment. But I love the fact that he keeps sneaking more of these outposts. He's non-stop. Puppy. Even if you don't harass lines with this, it's a fallback point. It's that YAM network later on. Also, it's just scouting, right? It's a protected scouting front. Even more so when you see your opponent has gone for archers. He has no easy way of sieging these down. So he has to face the fact that you have full vision. And look, it's coming into play. This is what we're talking about. The range on the outpost. He's sniping so many villages here. Oh, Puppy. He's a bad, bad boy. You can tell he's taking a whiz all over the couch in this one. And Wappa is not happy. Eco count now is 24 to 31 off the back of that. So many woodworkers just lost. And it becomes more frustrating. He did at least expand out into the goal line now. But look, these outposts, he has to stop them going up because otherwise he has no access to wood. And that could just end his game considering his reliance on these archers right now. This villager should die before he completes his job. Meanwhile, archers moving into the base of the Mongol player. Puppy under pressure a little. Is surrounded now. And Wappa, he can't retreat anymore. He made a mistake going in this deep. The YAM movement speed means the archer's going to be able to chase him down. So he's going to stab out as many of these villages as he can with the projectiles. We'll get a few on the exit, but he's going to lose the archer army. It's going to end up being, I'd say, a mediocre trade at best for Wappa. Getting a few of the villages is nice, but overall losing the army like that doesn't feel good, especially when you want to build in the scouts, because it looks like he wants to play into pro scouts. which is now being completed. And this, to me, is too greedy out of Wappa. I think you can't play this greedy. Like, think about the way Puppy's played this. The outpost in position, the choke off of resources. I understand that you feel like you need to bring more resources home, but I don't think this is the way to do it. I think you need to actually, if anything, you need to have a few more military units present. In fact, I would have loved to have seen a few horsemen. You understand your opponent is building archers now. He's just eviscerated your archer army, and instead of building the counter to archers, you're now massing scouts. That could spell a big problem, especially with Wappa having more of his villies sniped out. He's not even reacting right now. Oh my god, he's losing so many as well. Is he going to lose all of them? What is Wappa doing right now? Like, there's nothing else to manage right now, but he's missing this entirely. He's going to lose the whole villi line. Wappa, no. 11 eco lead. And now, once again, only food able to be gathered by Wappa. Puppy Paw has done a fantastic job of strangling the control away from China in this game. And it's enough that Wappa is convinced this over. And I respect that, GG. And I respect Puppy more. What a way to do this. This was actually really impressive. It looks so cheesy. It looks so simple, the way that he just outpost spams. But it's the calculative nature of it, right? He prioritizes wood lines so heavily, understanding that like a lot of what you're going to want to do to counter him is going to require wood. You're going to need wood for the infrastructure. You're going to need wood for the archers, right? Everything that Mongol does early on, you're probably going to need wood to deal with. On top of that, the greed of the Barbican Sun was the biggest error in Wappa's game plan here. He needed to have that Barbican close to the base, but he was paranoid about the gold situation. That's why he puts it out so aggressively. But because he does that and then is delayed rebuilding it, it gives such an edge to Puppy that he understands how to fully exploit it. And it can't be, you can never understate it, in fact, how important it is, these small gives and takes, right? Good players see that and they exploit it. And that is what I'm loving about Puppy already, just after that game. I'm convinced that this is going to be a guy that's going to be fun to watch in the coming weeks, just because the way he plays is clearly about exploitative elements of gameplay based on mistake, right? A lot of players see those mistakes and they just take it as an economical advantage. He doesn't. He wants to increase his chance of winning the game in the next 5 minutes as opposed to the next 15 minutes because, oh, that means I've got like a 2-villager lead over you or I can build a TC half a minute quicker. No interest in that at all, and I respect it. I love it. It's going to be interesting to see how far it will get him in tournaments. I think against some of the best players, there'll be adaptations. I think a lot of that in that game comes down to Wappa making a mistake, and I'd be interested to see how Puppy would adapt the plan had it not occurred, because I don't think you can necessarily pressure to the same degree or do it so freely if your opponent is half a minute or so quicker to tech up. Because remember how slow Puppy was. Puppy was very delayed on going for feudal. Had the Chinese player got there half a minute to a minute quicker, we're talking archers already. We're talking the fact that you won't be able to expand these Mongol outposts anymore. And then that's a game where the Chinese player probably just chills and then cruises into the mid-game, goes for Castle Age, and then maybe Puppy's a lot less comfortable. But that's the name of the game for Puppy. Make people uncomfortable. But if you're feeling comfortable, if you've liked sitting in your chair and watching this video, why don't you go ahead and continue to do exactly that and watch more videos on the side, as there's plenty across on the YouTube side. We do 3 videos a day. So, you know, your ass has already got the seat warm. Why even move? Just subscribe and keep on watching, and I'll see you soon.